RogersTV.com. Our website provides more information about our programs, our hosts, our schedule, and about how you too can get involved with Rogers TV. Visit us online at RogersTV.com.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us today. We are just north of Lake Charles, which is about a 20-minute drive north of Owen Sound, and we are at Rooted by the Bluffs with Julie Lambert. Thank you for inviting us here today.
Thank you.
It's an amazing spot. It's like a piece of tranquility here. But you have been doing some really interesting things here with permaculture. Explain what permaculture is.
Sure. Yeah, permaculture to me is about designing a property or a landscape that is resilient in these changing times and also self-sustainable. So it's about working with nature, not against it. So we're using what we have here already and trying to use as many resources on site to develop this property into what we're creating food ecosystems, but trying to use as many resources on site rather than off site. So over time, essentially at the beginning, you kind of need to use off-site resources a little bit, like wood chips and stuff, to get started.
Yeah.
But the end goal, is to cut off those off-site resources and to be self-sustainable.
Wow. How did you get started? Like what you've got behind here it's gorgeous. I love how you have battled the bunnies, is what I call them, and you've created some lovely weaving in amongst some steel ready bars or something that you've got in there. So you've started, and what you have here is gorgeous.
Thank you. Yeah. I first came across permaculture actually through traveling in New Zealand, and I came to some beautiful properties, and I was like, I want to do this. This is great for the world. It's great for people. It's great for, everything. And it was just such a good solution to a lot of problems that are happening in the world today. And so we started these gardens by basically we had a lot of black lumber tarp down on the ground covered with wood chips and straw, and we left that for a year or two. And it was a joke that it looked like trash back here, right?
But it had a reason.
Yeah, it was a reason.
Without herbicides, right?
Yeah, without.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So part of permaculture is it's slow solutions, it's slow progress. So a lot of people want that quick turnover. They want the garden the next day, or they want to make the garden in the weekend. Well, it takes forethought. So it's like you're covering the ground and you're not tilling, so you're not releasing carbon into the atmosphere.
Right.
You're smothering the weeds, so you're basically killing off the weeds over the course of a year.
Right.
And then after that, you remove that black plastic, and you have your soil that doesn't have the weeds anymore. And we put down a lot of cardboard, and we did lasagna beds.
Lasagna beds,
yeah.
So is that the layering of?
Yeah, the
cardboard?
layering of cardboard, and then a lot of different organic material is layered up into a certain ratio of carbon to nitrogen. As it breaks down, it builds this beautiful, beautiful soil. So our soils up here are quite heavy. So we wanted to really build up the organic matter in the soil, which holds moisture, which benefits the plants. It's also a part of another way of being more resilient because
Oh my! It's such a great idea because your business is called Rooted by the Bluffs, and we live on the Niagara Escarpment, which has very little topsoil. So this is a fantastic plan that you've put into action. I'm anxious to get down and have a look. So let's go have a peek.
yeah, okay.
We're in the garden, and this is the fence that I wanted to talk about because I battled the bunnies. This is a great idea. Where did you come up with this?
This is called a wattle fence, and the great part about this, well, it's more of a European thing, I believe, but the great part about this fence is that all of this came from on site. So we have a lot of forest here, and we have areas of the forest that are just all 1 to 2 inch in diameter trees that are out competing each other, and they're just, you can walk through and just push them over. So we just go through and thin out the areas that are just chucked with these small trees, and that's how we created this fence. It's mostly all on-site material except for the rebar posts.
That you've kind of wove it.
Yeah, we
around.
wove it in and out. That's right. Yeah.
And it being green, fresh cut, was very easy to work with. Now, how did you keep them together? Like
we pound it down with, or we'll stand on it and push everything down. Down together.
Yeah.
Baby bunnies probably could get through.
Wow.
Yeah. But
still, it's a great, and aesthetically, it's beautiful to look at.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
This is magnificent. The blueberries you've got here. Now, you've got it in a raised bed because why?
So you can kind of see they're each in their own container. So they're each in their own half rain barrel.
Yes.
Because blueberries like really acidic soil. And so we've created the environment that they need within their own container.
Right.
Yeah.
And putting the boards around it certainly makes it look, it just kind of blends in with your garden. And this?
For netting.
For birds.
Yeah.
I love how you've done this.
Yeah, our netting right now
resourceful.
Is on the hascaps, and it'll be moved here as soon as the hascaps are finished, which is in the next couple days.
Oh.
Yeah.
So neat. You've went to a lot of work, and then you've covered these up you've made your own hoops.
Those are spring hoops, and then row cover to keep out, the purpose of the row cover is to keep out the cabbage moth. Oh. That's really the main purpose.
The main purpose.
Yeah. And flea beetles, but mostly the cabbage moth. These are our lasagna gardens.
Right, okay. So this is where you've done all the layering
of organic materials, yeah.
The lettuce, so eye-catching. The red, is that a specialty type?
These are actually cold-tolerant Merlot lettuce, and they're started early in the spring, and that's how they can get so big and not be under any protection right now.
I love how this is bee-friendly. You have white clover planted between, and I never thought of using white clover between. You've got it between your lasagna beds, and it just all works in harmony. It's not trespassing, is what I would call it, and wandering away. It stayed within. So it is. It's bee friendly. It's lovely.
Yeah, and it is full of bees. You can hear the bees when you walk through here. It's just chocked full of bees on a nice sunny day. Yeah.
And your garlic is very happy in the lasagna beds. It's flourishing wonderfully.
Yeah. Yep. These lasagna beds just provide such a great diverse amount of organic material that it feeds the plants with everything they need. And when a plant has what it needs, it's not stressed. And when it's not stressed, it doesn't attract pests. Oh. That is the key.
Okay.
It's all about the soil biology.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's a key thing. I think I need to re-strategize my plan at home because I have bugs. So,
right. So it's all the soil. The soil is what feeds the plants.
Yeah.
It's not, you're not feeding the plant. It's the soil biology that feeds the plant.
That feeds the plant.
Yeah.
Wow. And like your strawberries are massive. So like what you're doing here is it's so beyond going to a store and buying fertilizer and lading your land. Like everything is happy here on what your permaculture theory.
Yeah. Most things are. I mean, we do get pests once in a while, and it's just, you know that there's stress there somewhere. It's either the plant is missing something in the soil, or the drought is stressing.
So now you mentioned drought. How do you water what you've got here?
We have 20,000 liters of rainwater collection.
Wow.
15,000 of that is collected off the roof of the house, and then it's gravity fed down to the garden beds.
So how many containers then do you have to hold that? That's a lot of water.
It is.
That's a lot of water that you're capturing just from your roof.
Yeah, we have 6 of those 1,000 4x4 totes that a lot of people use.
Yep.
And then we have a 9,000 liter really big one in the forest that's kind of hidden that things drain to. So we fill that up eventually. And so it's kind of a bit of a process. But
a very smart way that you've laid things out. And I love that it's gravity fed. So again, there's no carbon footprint for what you're doing. How old is this garden? Like it's flourishing so well. Like how long has this been set up?
We started, the first couple beds, which are these 2 beds here, the lasagna beds, were the first 2 beds we built.
Right.
And that was in 2016, 2017. So it's taken a while to get to this point, but it's come a long way, and it's really starting to, the work is easing.
Yes. But it's happy. Like there's no weeds. It's just it's a very happy garden.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah. So let's move on to the next project that you've been working on.
Okay.
This garden is a little different than the other ones that we've seen, and explain how the philosophy is of this one.
Yeah, so this is called this is a fruit tree polyculture.
Polyculture.
So a polyculture is a variety of different plants, and they are all chosen for functions that they provide to the fruit tree. So there is a ton of biodiversity in here, which means a lot of different variety of plants that have been planted, and all providing different benefits to the fruit tree. This one here, this is Monarda this is Monarda didyma, and it is one of I plant it to harvest it for tea.
Oh.
So I have a tea workshop, a herbal tea workshop.
Okay.
And this is one that we do focus on. It's in the mint family. It has a square stem, and it has like a citrusy flavor to it. It creates this beautiful scarlet flowers that are just a really nice pop in the garden.
So is this? I'm not familiar with the Latin name. Is this similar to bee balm?
So there's, yes, this is bee balm, and then there's another one that's very similar, but it's the native one, which is bergamot.
Gotcha.
And it's Monarda fistulosa.
So you take clippings of the leaf and the flower?
Yeah, I take, both, absolutely. And so the ideal time, I harvest by the moon. So when the moon is full, and just prior to the moon being full is when a lot of energy is being pulled up. So that means that the leaves are full of constituents, and that's the best time to harvest the leaf.
So then the next step then would be to a dehydrator, or how do you process that?
What I do is I harvest the full stem with the leaves on it, and then I hang them to dry.
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's just one plant we talk about in the herbal workshop that I offer.
So how can people find out about your workshops then?
They're all on my website.
Okay.
And some of the other ones are about fruit tree polycultures and planting the right plant and what the functions are that each different plant can provide to your fruit tree.
Because it's so lush through here. Like everything is happy. Like I never thought of putting together you've got your strawberries here and your rhubarb, but yet you've got the bee balm. Sorry, I can't remember the Latin name. Daisies. Like it's this plant is interesting, and the purple flowering one.
Yeah, this is seedless sorrel. It's an edible green, and it also, because it's so thick, it keeps out the grasses from coming in, so it's a good border plant. This is wild blue indigo, which is a nitrogen-fixing plant. So I was speaking earlier about self-sustaining, and so instead of adding manure and nitrogen in whatever form you add it in,
Right.
this plant will provide you
Really?
with the nitrogen that is required. Yeah.
When it dies off in the fall?
When it dies off and breaks down and releases it, it releases it back into the soil.
And what's its name again?
Wild blue indigo.
Wild blue indigo. I never knew there was such a thing. The bees love it.
The bees do love it.
Now, is this part of your tea as well, or
No, it's not an edible.
It's not an edible.
But I believe it can be used for dye, actually,
wow,
as like a dye for dyeing clothing.
I never would have thought. But yeah, I guess you could do natural dyes. Yeah. Now you've got your fruit trees behind us, and I see that you've got 3. Is there a reason 3, 4?
There's actually 5 in here, in this row. And they're all different. So I've got plums, and there's Asian pears and European pears. And so sometimes, depending on what type of fruit tree you're planting, you need to for fertilizing in order to get the fruit.
For cross-pollination.
For cross-pollination. Sorry, not fertilizing.
Yeah.
For cross-pollination.
And you've got some really neat barriers around them. Again, the battle of the animals. You've got them painted white with some netting around them. And so why is it painted white?
So the white is to prevent sun scald in the winter time. So in the winter with that hot south sun, it can really heat up the trunk, and it will thaw it out and expand it. And then at night, it all contracts. So it can cause vertical cracking on the tree bark.
I didn't realize that's what that was.
That's one part of it. And the second part is to prevent, there's some boring insects that it will help prevent as well.
Right. And this is an apple?
This is
or pear?
a pear tree.
A pear.
Yeah.
Like it's very happy.
Sorry,
here.
no, this is a plum tree. This is a plum tree. Yeah.
And you don't have black knot on it.
No.
How have you escaped from the black knot?
Black knot is, it's everywhere around us. It's in the forest. It is all over chokecherries. It's really everywhere. If you see black knot in your tree, you need to cut it out right away.
Yes.
It's easy to control black knot, but as soon as you see it, you need to cut it out. And again, it's another stress thing. If your tree is stressed, it will get black knot because it's a fungal disease. It spreads through the air. And so the chokecherries around that have black knot are, these trees aren't getting it because they're not stressed.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Now, you mentioned you've got hascaps. I'm anxious to have a peek at those.
My name is Matthew Rutledge. I'm a 60 scoop survivor, born in Red Lake. Was adopted from there to Toronto at the age of 4. A lot of our brothers and sisters, family members got separated from each other. That was the government's goal, to break that connection from brothers and sisters. Basically taking the Indian out of the child. Right now, they're still trying to find themselves. Originally, my birth name is Harvey Halverson. In my high school days, teens, I was trying to fit into society. I knew I was First Nations, but I didn't know who I was inside. I think later in life, I started that journey. I am proud, Anishinaabe man, who I am now. I love life, who I am.
Hi, I'm David Sherman, Goes to Politically Speaking. Join me in 2024 for my next Politically Speaking with the Mayor of the Town of Blue Mountains. Politically Speaking on Rogers TV.
We're back from break. Thank you very much for joining us. We are here with Julie Lambert, Rooted by the Bluffs, and there's some lovely purple berries here. What are these?
These are haskap berries, or honey berries, as some people call them.
Honey berries. Now, they same color as a blueberry, but you've got these in a container grown as well, or in the ground?
They're the containers cut out. Of the bottom of the container is cut out, and so
they look delicious. My goodness! Wow.
They are a sour, sort of a tart berry.
Oh, they're good.
But the first berry of the season, also. And among the haskaps, we have wild strawberries growing.
So again, you've got another natural bee habitat here. Oh, these are delicious.
Yeah, then the ground, and this provides a ground cover. So it prevents the grasses, which get really, really tall, from growing, and therefore we don't have to mow. Mm-hmm. And it also provides berries as well.
And you've got the netting, ingenious holders for your netting here, because yeah, like any berry, the birds seem to know when it's harvest time.
That's right.
Yeah, this is amazing. Now these, will these grow to be a fairly decent height?
Yeah, they will. They'll grow up to, so the oldest bushes are at that end, and they get up to be about, 3 or 4 feet tall.
And do you have to cut them off or anything, or do they just?
There's pruning actually involved, yeah. And I do offer a berry pruning workshop in the spring.
Okay.
Yeah, so which covers haskaps, but also raspberries and blackberries and black raspberries and a whole bunch.
Wow. Now that I would be very interested in getting in tune with that. I love your chicken coop. That is so dynamic. You have, I love the little latch that lifts up for what is in there?
Eggs.
Eggs, of course. Okay.
Yeah, the nest box. So the chickens are a really essential part of this permaculture orchard. That tractor moves every day, so the chickens get fresh grass and bugs, and it moves along the edges of the polycultures, and so it moves along the edges of everything that's been planted, and they scratch up the grasses, and they provide their manure on the ground, which with the fruit trees where their roots extend out into these aisles, they're feeding the fruit trees as well and then they provide compost in the wintertime when they're in a winter coop.
In a winter coop, but it's a great safe haven for them, because I know poor chickens can be exposed to vultures and hawks, and there's a lot of predator animals for them, and this is ideal, very ideal, and especially for your nut trees that you've got here as well. Yeah.
Yes, we have nut trees that are in, we call it the South Field, and we've planted a lot of nut trees down there, and the reason we wanted to plant nut trees is because it provides a source of protein and fat for people as we move into larger populations on the planet. Nut trees can provide a lot of the protein and fat for people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. We've got one more spot left that you had mentioned.
Yeah, I'd love to show you the hugelkultur.
Hugelkultur. I'm looking forward to learning about that. This is, what did you call it?
A hugelkultur.
Hugelkultur. Okay, please explain. You did kind of on the way up that it's something if you have no topsoil.
Yeah, so if you have no topsoil, this is a great gardening technique to use. You take logs that are decaying already, and you lay them down underneath. So this is basically a pile of decaying logs, and then you put soil on top of them, And over time, those logs continuously, they will decay and they turn into beautiful, beautiful soil. And so that's what this is. We lined it with, this was an old rotting pile of firewood that was here already. So we just lined it, and it's not breaking down because it's exposed. It's not under the soil.
Right.
But in here, this was probably this high. And over the last 3 or 4 years, it's just decomposing and shrinking down. And so this is a no maintenance bed. It's very wild.
Love no maintenance.
Everything is just self-seeding. And so the kale grew up in the spring from the seeds that just dropped naturally. And then this is actually sea kale. So it's a perennial, but this is a different type of kale. And last year, the seeds dropped and this is what grew up. So we had all these little plants that grew up this spring, which we ate from. And now all those little kale plants are going to seed. They're going to drop all their seeds in the bed. And then next year, we're going to have more kale plants growing. Okay. So we don't have to plant or do anything here. This is just self-seeding, and those are the types of plants I've chosen in here. This is a walking onion.
Walking onion.
So it's an Egyptian walking onion, and these are all little seeds, and they drop down to the ground and start new plants, and so they kind of walk. So they're called walking.
It's walking. Yeah. And the purple, is that some type of...
We have sage.
Okay.
So lots of herbs in here. And this is I'll just go back to this one. This is a perennial sea kale. So it's a kale that it's different. It's quite large and gets these really beautiful, beautiful flowers. And in the spring, we eat the shoots on the kale, sea kale.
How in the world do you do all this? You can't be doing this all by yourself.
No, I have my partner. He does all of the maintenance. He is the builder. He moves the heavy objects, and he's also one very efficient person. So he is use the right tool for the job type of person. He gives me a lot of guidance, and then I also have a lot of volunteers as well, actually. And I'm so thankful for my volunteers. They help me do a lot and cover a lot of ground here.
Very nice, because there is a lot of hands-on work here, although some of it is self-sufficient in a sense. But yeah, it's nice that you've got that work, that group of volunteers.
Yeah, essentially, just in the permaculture world, most of the work is up front until things get to a self-sustaining point. So it takes time to go, and a lot of hands-on and human labor at the beginning and then things get easier and easier as time goes on.
I certainly love how you have everything laid out here. Can people come and visit you here?
I do offer permaculture tours.
Okay.
Yeah, and that information can be found on my website. And then also visiting through the workshops. The workshops are always outside and hands-on, so learning techniques and skills and learning a lot about plants.
And they can do all that through your website?
Everything's on the website, which is rooted by the Bluffs.ca.
And they can find all that information. They could become volunteers. They could definitely learn a lot of information here. So thank you so much, Julie. This has been a real eye-opener. I'm going to go home and start planning out a few things to make my life a lot easier.
Great. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
It's been great.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.